Hey everyone. So today I got sent out to the garage with a specific task. I was told by my wife that she wants a key holder. So some kind of little plaque to mount on the wall with some hooks or something to hang our keys on. So that way we're not always looking for them. Get home, put your keys on the hook, and you know right where they are. At least that's the theory. So I'm going to hit the scrap bin, see what I can find for some pieces, and try to come up with some plan. I have no idea at the moment, other than, like I said, some kind of piece of wood mounted to the wall with some pegs or hooks or something attached to it to hook the keys on. So let's go to the scrap bin and see what we can find. Okay, let's see what we can find in here. Now, probably could get away with something about this, like this. Just cut it off here and use that. So we'll set that aside. But I'm thinking we might want to go with something a little taller. Because here's what I kind of thinking in my head. That maybe we'll, towards the bottom of it, wherever, probably cut this big knot out of there. But so maybe if something like this, and we put a few pegs or something down here for the keys, and then up above it we could either put some little shelves or a little pocket maybe for mail or something. Seems like we can kind of get some double duty out of this thing that we're making. So maybe we'll stick that to the side too. And then, I don't know. Well, we might have it back over here, but we'll start with those. And see what we end up with. Okay, I'm slowly coming up with a plan to do this. I think, like I said, what I'm going to do is cut this one down a little shorter. Probably something about that length. And then, like I said, put some pegs along the bottom. And then I'm going to build some little kind of slots for mail or whatnot to go in. Maybe a little shelf on the very top. We'll see. But I had these also in the scrap bin. You probably saw them in there. But I think what I'm going to do is use the angle that's on these to cut pieces like that. This will get cut down a little shorter. So basically it'll make a couple inch deep pocket for mail and whatnot to slide into. So anyways, let's get this chopped down to the right size, and then rip this down to the right size, and then cut these into a few pieces. I have 2 of these, so it should be the same rough angle. Pretty close enough. So we can chop that down into the right size pieces, and then build a couple pockets. And then we'll figure out the hooks for the keys. I think what I'm going to use, which you've probably you saw me potentially do on my push block, was to use the handle from a foam brush. I'm sure I got an extra old foam brush kicking around. I'll probably use that, and that way we can cut that to the right length. And down in here we'll drill probably 3 hook spots, 3 slightly angled places for the pins to go in. So let's get going. Okay, one of the first things I'm going to do here is take this piece and rip it down to the same width as this, so that way that matches. So what I'm going to do is bring my blade up and then set my fence to rip the same width as the board that I'm using for the backing. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a hair off this, and then rip them both the same. That way I know they're both the same. Yeah, that'll work. And there, now we have both my pieces exactly the same width. And now we can chop them down to the length we want. We're going to cut that down to length using the crosscut sled. If you haven't seen the video for this, check out the link. Let's see, right up here somewhere. And you remember, if you did watch it, that I had clamps, little spring clamps that I was using to hook my stop blocks on with. I have since bought these little Irwin quick grip clamps. They, rather than being a spring action, the clamp comes from this, so they're not being pressured outward with the spring, or pressured apart with the spring like the other ones were. So these work a little. I don't have to worry about these breaking, basically is what it boils down to, because how tight it is dependent on how hard I squeeze, and I'm just using it to hold the stop block so I don't squeeze real hard. So that's those. Not going to be using those at the moment anyway, so they're just going to ride here out of the way. So, okay, let's, something like that. Okay, so now we got this scrap piece can go back in the scrap bin. I don't think I'll use it for anything, but never know. So, move this out of the way. Now we have, that's going to be our base piece. With, I think, pegs going in down here. A couple little slots for mail. So let's figure those out. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an angle on the end of this and cut it probably maybe 2 inches long, 3 inches long, three or 4 inches long. So I think I'm going to do that right here on the table saw. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get some of this other stuff out of the way for a minute. And I am going to angle my table saw blade. Okay, now we have our 2 little shelf pieces cut, the back plate cut. So basically these are going to sit, you know, like here and here or something like this for little slots for the mail or whatever to go in, with the pegs down here for the keys. What I realize now is that I want these out at like that much of an angle, enough to hold stuff well. And these existing angle pieces I have are way too steep an angle. It would, if I use them, it'd be like this, which I guess would work, but I'd rather have it out a little farther. So I'm gonna kind of build a little something to hold some pieces in place, and we're gonna cut those angles to make that work. So that's what I'm gonna work on now. Okay, so what I got going on, I think this is gonna work.
I put my two shelf pieces together at the angle to create this surface here. That surface here is where this should line up. What I'm going to do is put a block out here and clamp it down to hold as a stop point for this and a flush point to be on. So I got to grab a small block of wood for that. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, clamp this right here so that'll hold that in place. So like I said, they don't need to be exactly a perfect angle of any kind. So I'm just going to set that. That'll be my stop block. Now I should be able to pull these out of the way. Basically, anytime I put the block right there, that's going to make that cut. Now, I'm estimating the length right now at where I want it. So we're going to cut one, see how the length turns out. If I got to make it a little shorter, then I'll have to adjust it a little bit, or longer, or whatever. I'll have to adjust where this block is a little bit. But let's give it a shot and see how it turns out. Alright, so there's one piece. Now what I was shooting for was about 3 1/4 inches long. Yep. Okay, so my length is good. Let's see how that matches up. See, my length's not good on here though. No, wait. Yes it is. 'Cause that's going to go like that. That's going to be my edge piece. It's recessed a little bit, but that's okay. So I can make it a touch longer if I really wanted to. But then this will go up against the thing, and so there's my little blocks that are going to hold the shelf out. I could probably even make it flush there, and you'll lose that little bit in the edge down there, which would be fine. That'd probably be a good idea to make that nice and tight against it so the nail doesn't fall down through it. Alright, so now I need 3 more of these, which I should be able to just cut out of this with this same stop block. All set up and ready to go. Okay, now I got all my pieces. Got my things for the keys, got my angle cut pieces, shelves, backboard. I'm gonna go through with the orbital sander and sand this all up and get it all nice and smooth, and then we'll assemble it. Okay, pieces are all sanded up, and this is roughly what the thing's going to look like. I haven't put anything together yet, it's just sitting here. So the next thing I do is I got to drill my holes in for these to go into a little bit to hold them there. Then I'm going to be gluing this all together. I'm not sure how I'm going to, I think what I'm going to have to do is actually cut a couple more of these angle blocks to put the other side of this to hold so I can clamp it. Anyway, I'll figure out the clamping method after I get the holes drilled. I'm going to drill those holes, and I'm also going to drill maybe 2 holes, one in the center top, one in the center bottom, to mount the thing to the wall. That should be enough. Well, I'm going to probably do all 4 corners. I'll do 4 corners and countersink those holes a little bit so when I screw it to the wall, the screws will be flush. So let's drill those holes and then figure out how to clamp this. My guess is I'm probably going to end up cutting a couple pieces, set a board across it, and set my concrete block on top of there like I've done in the past, because I don't have enough big clamps. They're on my shopping list. Eventually I'll get some, but for right now, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so one of the first things we're going to do is mark out where we want these. So let's figure out how wide this is. About 7 inches. So let's just set that here. So if I put one at 1.5, in from each side, and then the center of that, which should be, well, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 inches, so 2 inches in. 1, 2. So right there. That evenly spaces them out for the most part. And then we're going to make sure they're straight across. It's probably somewhere right in there, right in here, and right here. Okay, so there's those. Now what I'm going to do is kind of punch those holes a little bit so that way the drill bit doesn't wander when I go to drill them. So what I'm actually going to use is just another drill bit. Kind of start them. There. Now, the only problem is I wanted to do these at a slight angle. Okay, I figured out what to do to get these lined up at a slight angle. I took a block and I cut a hole in there, and it's at a little bit of an angle. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to line this up where I want it on the first hole. And what I'm going to do is, alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this. No, I'm going to set it this way. I'm going to set this first up here, and I'm going to set the ruler on it so that way it's right at, so my holes are right at 8, 6, and 4. So I know they're at 8, 6, and 4. And then what I'm going to do is line this up with the hole, with the first hole. I'm going to put a mark on the center of it. Actually, I'm going to just transfer it down. I'm going to transfer it down with this. So I'm going to come to the center of the hole. So now I got a mark there. So now I can set the block, figure out where I want the hole. And I can't really show you because I'm looking down through there at a funny angle, but I'm lining that up on the hole. Then I can just take and slide the block to the right marker along the ruler. So what I'm going to do is take this over the edge of the work surface a little bit and clamp the ruler on here, and then I can just slide the block to where it needs to go, clamp it, drill my hole, unclamp it, move it to the next spot. Okay, so I moved it over here to the edge. I have the ruler clamped on with this clamp. I can take this and line it up where I need it to be along the ruler and drill my hole. I took the drill bit to start with and poked it through the block of wood so that way just a little bit is sticking through, because it's not like we need a lot. But anyway, when it gets to this tape, that's when I need to stop. So the plan, I think I'm gonna clamp the block down too. That way I don't have to worry about it trying to wander at all. What this is also going to do is clamp everything down to the table saw, so that way nothing can move now. That's all hooked down. So give it a try. Let's unclamp this, and let's see how that turned out. just a little tiny hole. I might need to go a little deeper. Yeah, I think I want to go just a little bit deeper. So now I gotta get this back in the right spot, which shouldn't be a problem with my ruler there. So I think maybe I need to go for the tape to hit this side. Let's see that now. Oh yeah. And then I can push that down in a little more when I glue it in. But for now, we're going to move it out of the way and we're going to drill the other holes. Okay, so what I did is I took the chop saw, set it at a similar angle to what I did before, kind of like I did the other time, and cut 4 of these blocks set like this. And that way I can set the concrete block on here. I'm probably going to just set a board and then set the concrete block on to hold them into place while they're gluing up. So what I'm going to do is get this all figured out. I get it roughly where I want it. So then I'm gonna glue this and set them into place. Just real light on the glue. It probably won't take much to hold them. So that's what we're gonna try. Okay, I'm back. The glue, while I think would work, the clamping system wasn't working that great. Since the boards aren't perfect, I wasn't getting a good seal. As you might be able to see there. You might be able to see that gap. So I'm not getting good glue contact through the whole thing. So I'm not real confident on how well it's going to last. So what I'm going to do is find some small finish nails and drive a few small finish nails straight through. Hopefully I can find ones that are long enough they'll go all the way back. Or at least one of them will go all the way back into the base too. I think those pieces did okay. So anyway, so I'm going to try to find some finish nails around here. I found some finish nails. A little bigger diameter than what I really wanted to find, but it's really all I got around here. So I'm gonna take a few of these. They are good and long though. That's good. So I think probably one nail in each one of these would be plenty. So if I do it down there low enough, it'll go into the base. So probably right in here somewhere. The other thing I'm thinking maybe I'm going to do is find a thin drill bit and pre-drill these holes so I don't split the wood. Real tiny little bit. I wonder if I can get it out a little further. Okay, we're going to give it a go. That'll keep things together. Okay. So about the same distance in. We'll do another one over here. Here we are. Now I'm going to pre-drill some holes for screwing it to the wall. Okay, so here we are. The key holder that kind of morphed into a mail holder too. You know, it's not perfect, but it's you know, it gives you kind of that rustic feel. I don't know if she's gonna want to polyurethane it or paint it or what. But I kind of like it the way it is myself. But she might want to poly it or something. But you can hang your keys here, kind of stick some mail or whatnot in those slots. You know, you got letters that you got to get put in the mailbox the next morning or something when you go to leave the house. You can remember to grab them because they'll be right there next to the keys. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Okay, so this is gonna go roughly right here somewhere. Right, something like that. So let's measure it a little bit and stick it up there. And there we are. So, and then I got lucky. This side, there's a stud right here. So these two screws did screw and spread. These ones are just in the sheetrock, but two of them into the stud is plenty. I think that's gonna work rather well. So let's see what my wife thinks of it.
Wow, that's awesome. I like it. Oh my goodness, you made the little things out of wood. That's cool. That's so cool. Thank you, hon. I love it.
Will it work?
Yeah. That's so cool. Thank
So
you.
you can stick mail or whatever up
Yeah, I love it. Isn't that awesome? That is so perfect. Very cool. Thank you.